Okay, we're doing this. Hey everybody, it is me, Vincent. How are you all doing this lovely Friday? Funny story, I was here, it's Friday, I'm off, and I'm cleaning my house, I'm vacuuming, washing stuff. I'm gonna go get ready to film a video at Universal later today, get some Halloween Horror Nights construction updates going on, because they're really starting to cut into that. I wonder when they're gonna announce everything for Halloween Horror Nights. Well, they just did. Literally, like 5 minutes ago, Halloween Horror Nights dropped the bomb, and now we know all of the haunted houses and scare zones that will be at this year's Halloween Horror Nights. I'm gonna go through with you all 10 haunted houses and scare zones for this year. Now, I have only seen that they've announced everything. I haven't looked at the haunted houses yet. We know some of them already: Chucky, Stranger Things, Last of Us. But some of the others, everything else is gonna be brand new. So I'm super excited to check it out. And at the end of this video, just based off my first impressions, I definitely wanna talk about what I think are gonna be the more exciting haunted houses, what are gonna be my top 10 on my personal hype list. So let's go ahead and get this started. Got my handy dandy phone here. Let's go through the list of this year's Halloween Horror Nights haunted houses and scare zones and show. The first one, and probably what's going to be the most popular one for a lot of people, is Stranger Things. This is based off of season 4 of Stranger Things, the extremely popular season 4 Stranger Things. It says you'll try to escape the curse of Vecna. You'll need your squad to resist Vecna's gruesome curse. Like 11, now's your chance to stop him once and for all as you take on the scariest season of Stranger Things yet. Stranger Things season 4 was the scariest of all of the Stranger Things seasons, so I'm glad the house is finally coming to Halloween Horror Nights. This one, just right off the top of the head, is going to be the most popular house this year. Easily. The second, which is one that had not been announced, is The Exorcist Believer. 2 missing girls have been found with no memory of what happened to them, but wherever they went, the ultimate evil has returned with them. Enter the most terrifying scenes from the new Blumhouse film. Now, this is kind of interesting because they have done an Exorcist haunted house before. This is actually based off the new Exorcist movie, which I think is a sequel, and it has not come out yet. That's supposed to come out sometime in October. Halloween Horror Nights starts at the beginning of September. So this is a haunted house that you might be going through, and it might spoil the movie for you, but we'll see what happens. I'd like to imagine there's going to be some callbacks to the original film and even the original haunted house. I remember that haunted house being really, really scary. I've actually never seen the Exorcist movie, so I guess I'm gonna have to watch it now. Great. Then there is, of course, The Last of Us. I'm super excited for The Last of Us. This is actually gonna be based off the video game versus the show. So sorry, no Pedro Pascal in this haunted house, but you might see Joel and Ellie from the video game. Luckily for us, both the show and the video game are pretty aligned. They're not drastically different from each other. So if you're a fan of the show and you haven't played the video game, you're still gonna be getting a lot of the same experience, a lot of the same sets, the same monsters, the same clickers with their little creepy sounds that they do. This is gonna be a very popular house too. Easily the second most popular house in my opinion. Now this one's fun. This is Chucky, which we knew about last year. They announced that there was going to be a haunted house based off the sci-fi show Chucky, but it seems like they've pivoted and now we have Chucky Ultimate Kill Count. Chucky, the serial killer doll, is back for a new gore fest. He's hijacked his own haunted house with all kinds of bloody hijinks. You and your friends must try to survive his ultimate kill count. It seems like they're just not doing anything based off the show at all, which in my opinion, I think that's the right move. That seems like a much better idea. I've never seen the show. I don't think I was gonna really watch the show. I actually just watched the first Child's Play movie ever a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm glad we're just getting more of the character Chucky versus the show Chucky, because I think that's what people like about him the most, is his character. We've got another Universal Monsters house, and this one here is Universal Monsters Unmasked. 4 Universal Monsters in this one, 1 new nightmare. That's what the tagline says. Descend into the Paris catacombs, where you and your squad will face a new horde of monsters. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the Phantom of the Opera, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the Invisible Man. So we are getting a ton of Universal monsters here. I love this trend of getting more and more monsters every year. Keep them relevant, keep them timely, and make them scary, because honestly, those Universal Monsters haunted houses have always been super scary. So for me, this is pretty high up on my list right now. I'm excited to see the Phantom of the Opera. I love the Paris setting. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde sounds like it could be really, really scary. And the Invisible Man, well, he's actually been in the video with me this whole time. There he is right there. What do you think about this new haunted house, dude? Yeah. So this one here, I'm very excited. They've never done me wrong with these Universal Monster haunted houses. I think this one's gonna be really cool. Now, we are starting to get into the true original haunted houses. You know, Halloween Horror Nights has some really fantastic IP haunted houses, intellectual property haunted houses, but they also do a really great job at creating original ideas every year. And the first one here is called Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. You won't be able to resist going inside Dr. Oddfellow's menacing menagerie of twisted oddities, but the price for you and your friends is steep, the cost of your souls to feed his immortal power. So it sounds like an evil, spooky circus, and for big Horror Nights fans, you guys might recognize the name Dr. Oddfellow. That is because in the lore of Halloween Horror Nights, he is the person who is responsible for creating Jack the Clown, the ever popular Jack the Clown character from Halloween Horror Nights. Doesn't mention Jack in there, but I mean, like, you have to have him in the haunted house, right? Like, we gotta see Jack the Clown. Jack the Clown is the fan favorite. He's so cool, such an awesome icon. Give me, I don't know, maybe him before he became Jack the Clown. We'll see. We'll see. I would definitely recommend looking up some Halloween Horror Nights history videos for this haunted house. My good friend Expedition Theme Park has a really great deep dive into the history of Halloween Horror Nights. Look up that, check that out to find out more about Mr. Jack the Clown and Dr. Oddfellow as well. I'm interested to see how popular this haunted house is with non-Halloween Horror Nights superfans, because I think the superfans are really, really gonna like this house. Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm excited for Stranger Things, I'm excited for Last of Us, but this one right here, I think this is at the top of my list, and that is because it is Dueling Dragons. Choose thy fate. No matter who you choose, you lose. Two warlocks of great power were turned into dragons after trying to take Merlin's spellbook. Now you and your friends are caught in their epic battle. You must choose a path and a victor. So this is based off the Dueling Dragons roller coaster that used to exist at Islands of Adventure. How cool is that? I am expecting like a medieval village, or like you're in a castle, and this is gonna be like big puppets and fire dragon and ice dragon, Pyrock and Blizzrock. Those were the names of the dragons in Dueling Dragons. I just wanted to flex my theme park knowledge there for a second. I am really, really excited for this one here, and if it's going to be like the Dueling Dragons roller coaster, there has to be a point at the haunted house where you go left or right. Or, oh my gosh, what if this is like two haunted houses at once? Where right at the start you pick, do I want to go through the fire haunted house or do I want to go through the ice dragon haunted house? This one can go a lot of ways. This one is really, really high up on my hype list. I'm a little worried how high up it is because this haunted house needs to be epic. I was very excited for the Bugs haunted house last year, and it kind of went down towards my list, like really, really down, and once I actually got to experience the haunted house. So I'm hoping that this Dueling Dragons haunted house is awesome, which I think it will. I mean, they're all awesome, but you know what I mean. I think you're excited for this one too. Yeti Campground Kills. Yeti or not, here they come. You and your friends are about to venture into a 1950s campground overrun by huge, menacing Yetis who rip apart anyone who gets in their way. You must flee to the Ranger Tower to escape. A couple of years back, they had a haunted house called Yeti Terror of the Yukon, which involved the abominable snowman. You were in a sort of a snowy environment going through different lodges and things like that. It had a really good balance of like really scary stuff. All the actors in the haunted houses were very tall people who could be Yetis and Sasquatches and things like that. And also had some humor as well. Like, I remember there being kind of like some silly scenes and people dying in really comedic, outrageous ways. If this is anything like that, I think that'll be a really solid house. I'm relatively excited for this one here because Yetis scare me, big monsters like that. Anything that can like grab me and shred me to pieces is pretty scary to me. So I'm expecting to be a little scared of going into this haunted house. So maybe a part of me is kind of hoping it's on the little more of a comedic side. Then we have a haunted house, which is a pretty cool concept. It's called The Darkest Deal. That's such a cool name. Fame is fleeting, fear is forever. Blues musician Pine Straw Spruce will have to face the music after meeting with the Collector and trading his soul for musical glory. You and your squad learn the terrible price of fame. So it sounds like this gentleman is making a deal with the devil. And, well, that's probably not going to turn out very well. This is an interesting concept. This reminds me a lot of like the Legendary Truth in like that sort of level of ideas where you're getting something like the 1950s or a really strange concept that maybe people don't associate with a haunted house right off the bat and turning it into a haunted house. I'm really curious to see how this one goes in particular. Out of everything I've seen so far, this is definitely the most interesting out there idea. This is one I need to see in person. I really like the idea. Right now, I think for me, I don't know what to expect, so it's kind of on the lower end for me. And the last of the haunted houses is Blood Moon Dark Offerings. In a colonial-era village, moon worshippers witness a blood moon at their fall festival. They take it as a sign to hunt down any non-followers, including you and your Scream Squad. This one sounds interesting. It sounds like pilgrims who want to like kill you. And this, to me, I think right now, just based off that description, the art for it isn't really super engaging. It's kind of on the bottom for me, I have to say. I'm always ready and willing to be surprised. I'm always ready to be proven wrong. But right now, out of everything that we have this year, which is looking like it's going to be a really, really solid year, this one's kind of on the bottom. Definitely need to go through this haunted house and see it in person. Now, we've got some scare zones, new scare zones as well. 5 this year throughout the park. The first is Dr. Oddfellow's Collection of Horror. Dr. Oddfellow will lure you into Halloween Horror Nights with promise of immortality. As he lifts the veil on all the horrors to come, you'll soon realize you may not even survive the night. So reading this description and assuming that the scare zone is going to be at the front of the park, it seems like Dr. Oddfellow is going to kind of be the official, unofficial icon of this year. Kind of like the Pumpkin King, where he was like the main character. He sort of started the event with the opening ceremonies. Dr. Oddfellow is who we've got. And I'm telling you, just like with the haunted house, I need a Jack reference, man. You gotta give me some Jack. But it'd be nice to meet Dr. Oddfellow as well and all of the different circus characters that are going to be in this scare zone, I bet. The next is Dark Zodiac. Dr. Oddfellow has entered a dark dimension to harness the power of the Zodiac and live forever. He twists the signs into malevolent beings who foretell your doom. As his star rises, yours falls. Oh, wow. Okay, so really quickly, as I kind of skim through all of these, Dr. Oddfellow is mentioned throughout all of these different scare zones. So, I mean, he's got to be the icon, right? He's got to be the main guy this year, but this is cool. This is like a Dark Zodiac. This is the Zodiac signs, you know? Which, by the way, before we continue, can you guess my Zodiac? Huh? I'll let you guess. It's actually Aries. Aries. April 10th is my birthday, so that makes me an Aries. Boom. But this one here, I mean, pretty typical what you'd expect. It's a lot of, you're gonna get the Capricorn and the Pisces and the Aries and all that kind of stuff, and they're gonna look really scary. But I'm expecting some really cool costumes for this scare zone. Very excited. The next one is, which I've actually seen in the park already, they're working on construction, is the Jungle of Doom, Expedition Horror. In the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow ventured deep into the darkest jungle, performing horrific experiments on nature. Now his monstrous creations are running amok and are coming after you. The next one is Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. At a 60s music fest in a small New York town, you'll jam to popular bands with fellow concertgoers until Dr. Oddfellow unleashes vicious vampires on the audience. They're out for your blood. Now, why would Dr. Oddfellow unleash vampires onto a music festival? I don't really know why, but this is a scare zone that I think I'm the most excited for, just because if you remember, I think it was Vamp 89, right? 89, 88? Anyway, they had a vamp scare zone, a vampire scare zone in the New York street, which now there's actually construction for the Vamp 69 scare zone out already, and it was awesome. I loved it, I loved it, I loved it. Anyone who got to experience that street would tell you how fun it was, how cool the show was, where the dancers would come out and they were dancing to the AC/DC song. That was a really cool scare zone. If this is anything like that, I am all for it. I think it's going to be awesome. And then last but not least is Shipyard 32, which is Horrors Unleashed. Enter a 1940s San Francisco shipping yard full of mysterious crates and cages bearing Dr. Oddfellow's symbol. Beware, his nightmarish oddities have now escaped, spreading fear and chaos in their wake. Now, what I do like is that it's in the San Francisco area of the park, and it's also takes place in San Francisco. So I like that. I think that's nice. Don't really have any expectations for this one, honestly. Don't really know what to expect other than scary monsters and crates. I think based off the description and what my imagination could come up with, this is kind of on the lower end of my anticipated scare zones. I remember last year's Conjure the Dark was awesome. That ended up being one of my favorite scare zones from that year. So hopefully this one can turn that around. And then for the third time, the big show this year is going to be Halloween Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. If you've not seen the show, if you're not familiar with it, this is a sort of variety show, very sexy variety show with sexy dancing and lots of fire and acrobatics and tricks, and it's a pretty cool show. But the 2 times that they've done the show so far, it's been pretty similar. A lot of the same things happen, and a lot of it is really cool. A lot of it will like never not stop being cool, like the fire girls where they twirl the thing and the big fire, and you really feel the heat. But I really want to see how they spice things up this version of Nightmare Fuel. Now, I just threw a ton of info at you guys, and in these next couple weeks leading up to the event, we're about 30 days away from September 1st, the very first night of Halloween Horror Nights. We're gonna get a lot of construction updates and more information throughout, maybe some promotional pictures. You know, there'll be a media night where people get to go into the haunted houses, which Universal, please just bring me, let me go, please. I try my best. I think I do good videos. I can go to the event. Anyway, I want to share with you guys, off the top of my head, based off of everything I just read, what I am excited for, my personal hype list for this year's Halloween Horror Nights. So let's talk about the haunted houses. Right now, at the top of the list, it's gotta be Dueling Dragons. Dueling Dragons is such a cool concept. I am all for it. Number 2 is Last of Us. I love The Last of Us. I'm excited to see that in real life. Number 3, Stranger Things. That was like the best season of Stranger Things so far. So scary. It's gonna be an amazing haunted house with a lot of really cool moments. Number 4 is Universal Monsters for me. I love the Universal Monsters. I love the haunted houses that they put out every year. I think this one's gonna be really intense, really scary, more monsters than ever. And then number 5 is The Darkest Deal. I'm really curious to see what this haunted house becomes. It is such an interesting concept. I really want to see this in person. Number 6 is Campground Kills, the Yeti haunted house. I know it's gonna be scary for me, but I feel like we've seen the forest a lot. I've been in a lot of forests during Halloween Horror Nights. So right now, just because of the setting, I'm having a hard time kind of imagining something that's really gonna get me excited to see it. And then it's Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. I think this is gonna be a great haunted house for the super fans. You know what? I'm actually a little bit more excited for this now that I think about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and just like bump this up to number 5. I love the circus haunted houses and stuff like that. And if we get Jack the Clown in this in some way, shape, or form, that is gonna be pretty awesome for me. So that means we're going down to number 8, which I think is going to be The Exorcist. I have not seen any of the Exorcist movies. I really enjoyed the previous Exorcist haunted house. Don't know how I feel about this one being based off the new movie that no one has seen yet. Eventually they will. It's gonna premiere while the event's going on. But right now, don't really know what to expect. It's a movie haunted house. Then it's Chucky down in the bottom. I'm hoping this is like the fun haunted house this year, but you know, it's Chucky. I'm gonna get you, I'm Chucky. You know, so I'm just kind of expecting a lot of that kind of stuff, and I'm sure that'll be fine, but I just don't really have any high expectations for it right now. I am willing to be proven wrong. And then last is Blood Moon Dark Offerings. This one here sounds a lot like a house that I personally really did not enjoy a couple years back, which was, I think it was called Roanoke, Cannibal County, and it was basically pilgrims who were wanting to eat you, and it was a very bloody haunted house, and it never had a really long wait. It was always like a 5-minute wait at the end of the night, and it was fine. I'm kind of imagining this as that. To me, this feels very much like Spirits of the Coven from last year, which I personally was not a very big fan of. All in all, this sounds like it's going to be a really great year. I'm very excited to start cooking out some more Halloween Horror Nights videos, and I hope you enjoyed this very impromptu, impulsive, quick video talking about all of the announcements. I would love to hear your thoughts on this year's offerings. I would love to know what you are most excited for. What do you think about my list? What do you think about, I don't know, everybody else's lists? If you are getting ready for Halloween Horror Nights, but you haven't bought anything yet, you don't know what to buy, I actually just put out a video recently about Halloween Horror Nights, a ticket guide on what type of tickets to buy, if you should buy Express, should you get an RIP tour, a frequent fear pass, all that kind of stuff. You should definitely check it out. I provide some pretty clear-cut information about all the different offerings for this year's event. I am looking forward to making more videos for the event. I'm very excited. This is my favorite time of year. This is a lot of other people's favorite times of year. It's gonna be great. But until then, I will see you all out in the park, getting some construction updates, and then eventually I'll see you all in the fog. Ooh. So thank you guys for watching this video, and happy Horror Nights season, everybody. Happy haunt season. Woohoo! Bye-bye.